All right, sorry about that. We are back. So sometimes we just have some technical difficulties. But I'm just going to take a few more minutes to answer some of these questions from last week. And again, invite you to our Tuesday night Bible study tonight at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So grab a friend and join us tonight with your questions. So Yeshua Loves Me on chat says this, asks this question: how do I reconcile with my son when others do not want us even to associate? Well, number one, I'll just say this. If you have a son that you want to reconcile with, that something has pulled you apart, I just really encourage you is that other people will always have an opinion about your relationships and the quality and who should be in your life. And again, we can have people that are trying to protect us or trying to have our best interests at heart, or maybe they've seen you get hurt in the past and they want you to avoid that and things like that. So, obviously, there's things that you need to consider. But I would, number one, take this to the Lord. If the Lord is telling you to reconcile with your son, then you need to reconcile with your son. Now, may God, with that reconciliation, maybe there's some parameters that you might set up, some boundaries that you might set up because of maybe some things in the past that have happened that has caused you to drift apart or caused there to be hurt. Ask the Lord for direction, not just if I should, but how I should. That's a big part of reconciliation. How should I reconcile? And then also put up boundaries so that we don't get hurt again and don't go down that same road. But so Yeshua, I would just say, just pray about this. And if God's telling you reconcile with your son, then do that. And then also just see how God, when he does that, it can be a testimony to those people who are saying for you, maybe not to. Is in him on chat asked this question for Carrie. How do we know when to address the offense or just forgive and ignore what was said or being done by a friend? In other words, do we ever bring it up? I was actually thinking about this as we were preparing and stuff. And, what I found is there have been people that have said things that I just just got me offended. And then after I'm home, I was like, kind of get spitty about it. And so first, like I said in our stuff, deal with your own heart, right? Deal with your heart. And if you're like, they didn't mean it. It's just, Lord, I forgive them. I let it go. Deal with me heart. Now, if it happens again the next day and the next day and the next day, and you see it's not necessarily something maybe intentional, but it's over and over and over again, that's when I tend to usually address something. I'll just sit down and say, hey, I dealt with this. You've done this a couple times, and I've dealt with my heart, and because it really hurt me or offended me or got me riled up, I took it to the Lord. And it's something I'm working through. Okay, this is something I'm working through. But I wanted to let you know because I know your heart. I know that you're not out to hurt people or offend people. But when you say this or when you do this, this is what it has caused in me. And it could be doing this in other people. I want to let you know this because I care for the health of not just our relationship, but your relationship with other people. Honestly, if you go at that approach versus like, dude, you offended me, stop it. That doesn't necessarily work. So have a positive conversation where you're building them up, saying, hey, I know you value this relationship. I value it enough to say I don't want the enemy to keep bringing this burr or this, same reoccurrence back over and over into our relationship. So I would go with at that point, if it's a one-time thing and you just need to deal with it in your own heart, take care of it with your own heart and leave it before the Lord. If it keeps happening, seek the Lord of how to communicate with them so that the enemy doesn't keep using this as something that can eventually drive a much bigger wedge and you eventually blow up someday. Okay? So, good question. Paul on Facebook says this: our grandmother keeps bailing out our adult daughter, saying, in Timothy, it says, if you don't take care of your own family, you're worse than an unbeliever. Can you hear a grandmother saying that? And Paul says this: we are trying to deal with our prodigal daughter biblically, but our grandmother is constantly stepping on our toes about it. What should we do? If you have gotten direction as a mom and dad of how to deal with your prodigal daughter, then you need to follow that. And you're going to get everybody's commentary on how you do that. I would make sure that you have some good counsel, because sometimes we can be trying to teach our kids a lesson so much that we also are saying, where's our grace? But at the same time, there was biblical things that when the prodigal son said, all right, if you go your way, then you go your way. And but we're here for you when you come back. So I would just encourage you to keep your heart right, keep your heart, you and your wife knowing in unity what God has said, and then continuing to just guard it when even people that you love, like a grandmother, your own mother, has different opinions about how you're raising your children. So that's always a sensitive subject with parents and grandparents and our families and our kids. But ultimately, as parents, your adult daughter does have her own decisions, but you guys, as her parents, also have the ability to make those decisions for your life and how you interact with her. I just want to do one more question real quick. Scarlett on Facebook asked this. She says, how do you deal with verbally abusive caregivers in the home when you can't get up and walk away? You need their help and you can't reason with them. Scarlett, that is a difficult situation when you're in a situation where you really need people, you really need help, you really need those friendships. Like you said, a caregiver. Now, here's the thing that I will say is that even though there's a need in your life, God does not want you to place yourself in a position where you're abused, whether that's verbally, physically, sexually. We're not supposed to be in places that say, well, I know I'm getting abused. I know this is wounding me. It's tearing me down. It's wearing me out, but I need them. Let me just challenge you, Scarlett, and anyone else in this situation. Maybe it's not a caregiver and you can't walk away, but this may be something in that aspect, whether it's a husband or whether literally you're elderly and you need somebody to take care of you and help you to the bathroom or someone to take care of your lawn or your bills or whatever. God can provide for you someone in your life besides this person. Okay, so this is where I would really start to, number one, seek out some people in your life that you can share the situation with. Because sometimes we just kind of lock things away and we go, well, there's nothing that anybody can do because I need them. And they're going to say, well, you can't kick them out of your life because you need them. I'm going to say that God loves you, Scarlett, and anyone else in the situation. God loves you and he does not want you to be verbally abused or any other type of abuse. Okay, God can provide a way of escape. And in that, still provide for the needs that you have. One of the things we have to be really careful is that we don't place the needs we have physically, emotionally, sexually, whatever these are, we don't place those needs in someone else's hands. We have to take those needs and place them in the hands of the Lord and say, Lord, you can take care of my needs. And because you can take care of my needs, you can provide also the right people. Because God says, I'm not going to take care of you by providing you a wrong person that's not going to lift you up or build you up or show Christ to you. And so, Scarlett, I would just start to make some declarations about your life and just say, you know what? Do I have to make some decisions? You may have to make some hard decisions and say, this person can no longer be in my life. And God, I'm believing for someone else. And I believe God can do that. And so I just want to encourage you to pray and take a step of boldness with what the Lord tells you to do. So I just want to thank you guys for joining us today. I do want to invite you also this next week, next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, October 1st through the 5th here in Woodland Park, we are having our Ministers Conference. It is not too late to register and join us, so please look into that and look on our awmi.net website and see the Ministers Conference and how you can register for that. And also the speakers, we have an amazing lineup of speakers. Bob Yangan, he's going to be here with you tonight. Bob Nichols, Dwayne Sharp, Rob Rufus, Jerome Fernardo out of Sri Lanka, Greg Moore, Barry Bennett, Paul Milligan, and myself are going to be ministering to you this year. And so we're really excited about it. So please check that out this afternoon. And I will see you tonight. Myself and our guest minister will join you tonight, 6 o'clock, Tuesday night, live Bible study.